Hello, my name is Sahara Abdi, a children's author, an advocate of literacy, and a writer of short stories. The moment I start speaking and I talk about Mandera and I say I come from Mandera, everyone kind of gives me this look of like, you were born there, like you do come from Mandera. Quiet and shy, I know. Every time I tell people as a very quiet and shy child, they always look at me like, really? How did you end up being this chatter woman? I fell in love with literature and I used to write a lot. I would write a lot of articles and essays in school outside of what the teachers require us to write.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Conversations in Literature. My name is Eric Rogara and I'm here with Sahara Abdi, the author of My Brother with a Colourful Brain, and Araweelo, a boy named Salah. And she's also the founder and director of the Northern Voice Trust, an organization which she set up to help the pastoralist kids in the north be able to read more books. Karibu Sahara.
Asante. Thank you so much, Eric.
Yes.
Delightful to have a conversation with you here today.
Yeah, so how are you doing?
Very well, I will say.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just flew in from Mombasa. Yeah, how is Mombasa? It's very hot here.
Mombasa is fantastic. Well, our hot is different from your hot here. I can't believe I'm saying our hot, yet I called Nairobi home for the longest time. But Mombasa's hot is humidity, so we sweat down there a lot, and I think it's kind of cools you down. I don't know. And here it's hot and dry, so I feel it in the thick of the skin. But all well, all good. I do not miss the traffic at all, I must say. Sitting in Matatu for like 2 hours doing nothing, just waiting for the jam to open up is one of the things I completely forgot until I had to witness it again today.
Have you gotten used to the ocean?
I love it. It's my soul and heart, literally. Like,
you haven't reached a point where you're like, this ocean.
Never.
It's so boring now. I see it every day.
I will probably never have that moment in my life. I know we go through life saying, oh, nobody knows what they want or nobody knows what they are up to. I think I know I want to retire by the ocean. At least I'm sure of that. Yes.
What is it about the ocean that calls to you?
I wish I had an answer to that question, but I always think about it in this sense. I mean, I am Sahara. I carry the name of one of the biggest deserts in the world, the second biggest desert actually in the world. And my community, of course, we live in arid and semi-arid areas. It's ever dry, and then they had to trek for hours to find water. And then I was born, probably my grandmother did that. I'm sure my mom didn't trek to fetch water. And then I was born, and then I went to this large mass of water the first time when I went to the ocean when I was a child. And I was like, how can people enjoy this all to themselves? I need to represent my community. I think that's how I fell in love with the ocean. Just sitting by a large mass of water and seeing it makes me happy. The waves also have a huge impact on me. I can't explain. It's been actually talked about a lot by a lot of people scientifically, and even the non-science gurus on the internet nowadays talking about how everything is healing say it a lot. That just sitting by the ocean, watching the water and the waves and the sound of it heals you. And I can attest to it, it does.
Yeah, so do you ever write about it? Or does it in any way influence your writing?
Influence, yes, it does. Did I write about it? I have a section of it in work that has not seen the light of the day yet. So yes.
Yeah. So how we are going to do this? We are going to start with talking about you. Then we'll talk about what you think about things. So Childhood, yeah? Childhood, discovering writing, learning to enjoy the English language. So what kind of childhood would you say you had? Was it calm? Was it tempestuous?
I had a pretty much, for lack of a better word, I will say okay childhood. Okay, in the sense of like it was the norm in our home, like in the part of the world that I grew up, which is Mandera. So typical childhood, honestly. I mean, I never had to herd goats or fetch water, which is when you hear the word nomad, I'm sure that's what comes to the mind most often. But we lived in town. Mandera does have town, and then there's the Ushago of Mandera now. So we lived in the town of Mandera, and I had a normal childhood in the sense of, I mean, I grew up on DSTV watching, play outside a little. I was a reader from a very young age, so I grew up on a lot of books, and then go to school, come back home. That's it. Madrasa as well. The Islamic schools, which we used to go after school, 4 p.m. and then that's it. That sums up my childhood.
Yeah. So, what's the like? You say you grew up in Mandera. A lot of Kenyans may not be so much aware of what goes on in the north. It has not been represented enough in literature, in public, journalism, television, whatever it is. So what stereotypes about your area have you really annoy you the most?
I will say all, honestly. Because, I mean, in this age and era that we are in, I'm like, everything is just, this is part of your country. This is, your it makes up Kenya. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why not hop into a bus and go check it out, go find out what do the people do there. In 2024, I'm not forgiving anyone for any stereotype. Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe that's just me ranting about my annoyance. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a lot of stereotype. I remember the first one that I always encounter, which I find so funny, is the moment I start speaking and I talk about Mandera and I say I come from Mandera, everyone kind of gives me this look of like, you were born there, like you do come from Mandera. I don't know. Do they expect people from Mandera to sound different? Or not to be able to know the Queen's language? I really don't know what the fuss usually is about that, but I get it a lot of the time. Like every time I say I come from Mandera, it's the first culture shock people meet about me or rather have. Other than that, it's the thinking of that there's no internet. I remember, I think 1 or 2 December ago, I was going home, and then I tell this friend of mine that I'm going home, and then so he's like, oh, so I won't hear from you for like the next 20 days. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, I thought like your area is not covered with like internet or something. I'm like, dude, we got Safaricom coverage even in my grandmother's house. Like my grandmother lives 1 hour away from the town center, and there's still Safaricom network coverage. I can still surf the internet while I'm sat in her heart. So those are usually the few misconceptions people have about Mandera and what they imagine. They imagine like it's just a dry, vast land that probably has a few thatched houses. But no, we really, I mean, of course, with the coming on of devolution, a lot has changed. There's even 5-star hotels, I will say now, that are in Mandera that people go and, sleep in and pay tens of thousands for a night. So there's the marginalization bit, which I'm not going to like undervalue, that we experienced and that we still continue to experience, like no road network whatsoever at all. Like it rains for 2 days straight and the road networks, whatever that's in place now, are not become impassable, and we spend like 5-6 days on the road. So that's there, and I'm not going to underrate it, but also it doesn't mean that it's all dry and sunny in Mandera and hunger, what the mainstream media usually portrays. we have vibrancy, we have culture, we have food that's amazing. And
What do you plant there?
What do we plant? Maize, mangoes, watermelon. We actually
What fruits?
have
What are the main fruits?
the main fruits: bananas, watermelon, lemon. We grow a lot of lemon. Pawpaw. My own mom has pawpaw growing in her compound. We do onion farming. We have cherry tomatoes that grow down there. We practically grow everything. Almost everything, I would say. Obviously, I can't say everything. We don't grow apples.
What do you
I don't know
do
if anyone
more of? Is it like the farming or the pastoralism, or a mix of both?
A mix of both, but all of them in small scale, I will say still. Because there are no people who practice large scale pastoralism now. They just have enough goats to like fend for the family.
So it's mostly goats?
Goats, cows, and camels. Even though the camels don't stay in the homestead, they usually stay away from the homestead.
Culturally, are the camels more important than the goats and so forth?
Oh yes, they hold value. It's like literally all our lives' value is on the camel. We even have so many proverbs that that insist on the importance of camel, in the community. So yes.
Do you think the camel, does it have like any impact on how the culture or the people? You know how if you make a certain animal your totem, if the totem of these people is like a leopard, and then the people start valuing the traits of a leopard or something, is there something of that sort with the camel?
I suppose I will say yes, because the camel can go for a number of days, even I think up to 30 days, if I'm not wrong. It's not factual. Without water and without food, and it feeds on the shrubs. So, the resilience aspect of it, very much in my community, we're very hardworking people, very resilient people. We can adapt anywhere where we're put. I think same with the camel. So, we do share a lot of traits with it.
Yeah. So who are the others from the north that are like really influential?
Sahara
Abdi.
Yes.
But before Sahara.
But
who did Sahara look up to when she was a child?
Exactly. I know where you're getting at. I was just, I don't know. So unfortunately, I will say, I've not had any author I grew up on from my home when I was growing up. There could have been, but maybe it was never mainstreamed. Maybe I never found out. I really don't know. And it's still unfortunate that even up to now, as I'm here speaking to you, I mean, there's amazing young writers who are cropping.
This is really weird because the northeastern, it's mostly like predominantly Islam, right?
Oh yes.
And there's a lot of poetry in Islam.
Oh yes.
And the places which have Islam to this day, they produce a lot of poets. When you go to the coast, when you go to Somalia, we have very good poets from Somalia.
Yeah.
Even Munira Hussein, from the north.
Amazing
She's
poet.
from Wajir?
No, Marsabit.
Marsabit.
Yes.
She's also a really amazing poet. So, aren't there more poets from the area?
They are, but the thing is, first of all, you asked who might have influenced me. Like growing up, there was none I could read. Like there's none I grew up on. Like I said, probably they existed, but I may never have found out their writing. Another thing that I always like to allude to, and it's one of the reasons why when I formed Northern Voice Trust, it kind of pushed me to form that organization, was that predominantly and by large we are an oral nation. Like even the amazing poets that we had, most of them die without having been recorded. You go to a random person, my own grandmother in the village, she's a poet. Like you go to random people guarding grazing animals or going about their daily, and you will find that when you sit with them, when you have a conversation with them, or when you listen to them, they're amazing poets. But these things have never been written, neither have they been recorded. So I think half the reason why we lost so much of our richness in our language and in our thoughts and in our community was because of not writing, not documenting them. So I have a lot. I wouldn't say a lot. A few of Somali authors that I've read and I love and adore their writing, and who influenced me. But they're international.
Not Kenyan Somali
not
or
Kenyan
Somali?
Somalis. Somalia.
Like who?
And then they Nurdin Farah. This.
He won a Nobel, I think, didn't he?
Nobel, no, but he was nominated.
Am I mistaken?
Alongside.
Am I mistaking him with the Egyptian?
You might be mistaking him with not Egypt. Was he Egyptian? The Zanzibari guy. Not Egyptian. The Tanzanian Zanzibari guy. Why am I forgetting his name as well? I don't know.
I was thinking of Najib Mahfouz from Egypt.
Oh,
who's written The Children of Gebelawi.
Yes. No. Nurdin Farah is from Somalia.
Is this guy who writes about exile?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's Nadifa Mohammed as well. A lot of amazing. Warsan Shire, yes, an internationally acclaimed writer, poet.
There's the one who people say she Beyonce stole from her or something.
Stole or she wrote? I don't know about the stealing part.
Okay, I don't know if she stole or it's like Beyonce got something from her or quoted her or something.
I don't know about the quoting as well. I know that she wrote the lyrics. I don't know, like she wrote. So I don't know whether she was ever accredited for it or not. I don't know. Beyonce's one of Beyonce's song. Warsan Shire. Yes.
Okay. These are all young poets except Nurdin.
Yes.
Nurdin is it a novelist or?
No, he is a novelist. Yes, I think he's post before colonial, obviously. So yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So Sahara Abdi is growing up in Mandera.
Yes.
And there are no books that she can relate to. How is she reading?
I read a lot of Tom and Mary, Kamau, I don't know, Nekesa, I don't know.
That's Hello Children.
Yes. A lot of white books.
Which ones were your favorite? Famous Five?
Yes, I did read The Famous Five.
Secret Seven?
I know I didn't read.
Goosebumps?
Yes.
Did you ever...
A lot of Disney as well.
Disney? Okay.
Yes.
The princess stories?
Yes, the princesses stories, most of them.
So did you ever really relate with them, think about,
nothing.
I could be a Disney princess?
Never. It never ever occurred in my mind.
So when you are reading books at that time and you say you couldn't relate with them, why were you reading? Like, what was the motivation?
I loved reading.
Just the act of reading? The
act of reading. And I was a very quiet child. Quiet and shy. I know every time I tell people I was a very quiet and shy child, they always look at me like, really? How did you end up being this chatter woman? So I was very quiet, very reserved. I didn't actually ever even play much with children. So books were kind of my world. Like, I used to look forward to going home to just get a book and stay in my bedroom and read. That's how much I enjoyed reading. Now that I reflect back, when I say this, I have never at any point read a book and felt that got it into my mind. It never got into my imagination. I was just reading for reading's sake, to kind of like either grasp information or to run away from the loneliness I was feeling outside of me, because I could not relate with children around me. Like, I could not relate with even my own younger sister, like the playing around. I remember she used to climb trees, like just a normal childhood. I never had any of that.
You didn't climb trees?
I never did.
What did you do?
Like I said, tucked in bed and read. Nothing.
Were you sick?
Never.
Yeah. Were you lonely?
Lonely might not be the word, but I think I was a loner. I don't know whether that makes any sense.
It does.
I still like, as much as I'm very outspoken and I laugh a lot, but I really enjoy my alone time. I can stay indoors for 7 days a week and be still okay and feel okay. Yeah.
When I was growing up and reading, I did read. I did have access to all sorts of books about Kenya. Kenyan storybooks. I don't know if you read all those Kenyan storybooks that used to be there. Beautiful Nyakeo.
Oh yes, the the
ones,
Oxford series,
yes,
5A, 5B, I don't know the titles was. Good
Yes,
Matata, I don't know, Somebody in Trouble.
Yes. So I did read all these ones, but then I also read the foreign ones, and I remember when I used to read the famous 5 books, which were my favorite at that time. I always used to. They do make you feel like you're white on the inside, because you are relating to the famous 5, but whatever they are talking about, well, you relate to the story, to the adventure and all that, but the culture is so different. Like, this is a culture where the dog is not a dog, it's their friend. Yeah, you see, when they say famous 5, I think the dog was one of the 5.
Yeah.
Those were 4 plus the dog.
The dog, yes.
And the dog is called Timmy.
Yeah.
So for me, we had, when I go watch and there's a dog, I try to relate with the dog that way. But it's a dog. But the dog in famous 5 is not a dog, it's almost a person, because it understands what they are saying. It's also part of the adventure. And then, you see, now that's already like a cultural shock or a cultural difference.
Yes.
And then there is the food that they are eating. So you find they are eating gingerbread sandwiches, ginger beer, all these things are things I don't know what they are. And I remember, I think, reading Chimamanda, where she was saying when she was a kid and she used to read those storybooks, the famous 5, she wished she could taste the ginger biscuits or whatever they are called and know how they taste. So they really sounded special, having food and so forth in writing. So is that something you ever really focus on when you are writing your work? Like, you really put the food and the culture of what you know, whether it's in Nairobi, it's Mombasa, or Mandera, in your work, so that whoever is reading it, like, you feel like they have gone to your place. Yeah,
I did that with my first 2 children's story books, Araweelo, which was my first book, and Salah. And I honestly love
Araweelo and Salah.
Araweelo and A Boy Named Salah.
I thought it's the same book.
No, it's 2 different books.
So you have 3 books?
Yeah, the children books I've written are 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually thought it's Araweelo, A Boy Named Salah.
No, Araweelo is a book on its own, which is all girls character. Salah is a book on its own, which is all boys character. Do not ask me if it was intentional. It wasn't. It just happened.
And then the third one?
And then the third one is My Brother with a Colourful Brain.
My Brother with a Colourful Brain.
Yes.
Which you brought for us, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So yes, I did put the food and every fabric of my culture that I was trying to ensure that the world knows about us and to represent it in books. I did put it in writing. Just to take you back, especially on what you just described of how those books make you feel as if you want to be part of it. Like I said, for some reason they never got to my imagination. I read all those princesses stories, but I've never myself imagined as a princess, even in one single day, wearing any of those fancy dresses and trying to. They've never influenced me in that level. But what I remember is, remember the textbooks, the curriculum books that we use, they somehow represent the entire nation, the entire Kenya when we are writing them. And so they have names of all the communities in most of in the textbook. So I remember when I see the word Abdi or Fatuma, it kind of used to entice me. Not just entice me, it used to make my entire day. I will come across Fatuma and the whole day I'll be happy. I don't even know why I'm happy. I used to circle it, and sometimes I will constantly go back to that page. I'll kind of memorize that it's on that page. I never understood that excitement until when I wrote a book for children myself. And I realized why the world is talking a lot on representation and why representation matters. Because then that was what was happening to me. I felt I was represented in this book by having part of me in that book, because Abdi and Fatuma are parts of me. It was part of my identity. So I realized that's why representation does really matter, and that's why I went heavy on it in my 3 books. I wrote all of them categorically for the Northern Kenyan child in mind when I was writing, even though they crossed borders and they were overwhelmingly accepted by every community of Kenyan, which I'm really grateful for.
So the first one is the Northern Kenyan boy, the second one is the Northern Kenyan girl, and the third one is a Northern Kenya boy who is neurodivergent.
Yes. So the first one is the girl, the Northern Kenyan girl. The second one is the Northern Kenyan boy, and then the third is, yes, the Kenyan boy who lives with a colorful brain. And yes.
Okay. Before you now come to write this book, there's a point at which you started writing. And when was that?
I think I'll give you a brief of just my writing, even though...
Actually, I want to ask, when did you start loving the English language?
I've loved English all my life. I don't even... for no apparent reason, I will say. But because my vocabulary was rich, even when I was in Mandera, for the average Mandaran child, I mean, remember I read a lot. So I knew a lot more than the children around me, and even, like I remember when I pronounced the word vocabulary in class 3, like even though I still mispronounced it, I still think I'll be ashamed if I say it out loud now. Even though I know all the viewers will be curious to know how did you pronounce it. But I felt proud of myself, and I was walking like with air-filled kind of sense for like 2 days. So that's how much my language was rich in school. And then when I went to secondary school, I fell in love with literature, and I used to write a lot. I would write a lot of articles and essays in school outside of what the teachers require us to write. And I had one teacher who has really, really, really influenced me positively. And so I used to write, and then I'll take it to him, and then he'll read it and mark it for me, and then he'll make comments. He's like, improve on this. And so that actually just went on to build my love for the English language. Before now, I accepted to use it as my medium to write.
So then, at what point do you now start writing?
So I started interacting with literature, like I said, from high school, which I loved, and I was so good at it that if the teacher probably had a busy day, or she had some commitments, I remember they will ask me to step in and lead the class through the literature questions, because I was really like good with analyzing, the understanding of it. That went on. So even blogs, before I think blogging became something mainstream, the way it kind of became. In 2010, I started blogging. I created a WordPress just after high school, a WordPress, and I will just write, randomly post it. I will write, post it. I didn't care whether anyone read it, whether anyone found about it. For me, it was just an avenue to just, write and write and share. And that went on until 2012. In 2012, I joined, like the capitalistic world, for lack of a better word. I started working, so I became busy, and that kind of naturally died in me until 2017, when I met a personal loss that really affected my life and made me like kind of numb, I will say. Like I had to sit at home to process it, and writing was through which the medium that I used to process it. So I will write. I used to write a lot in 2017 and 2018.
At that point? Was it something with a form, or more like diary?
It was more like a kind of journaling, I will say. So it's me just sitting with a pen and paper and writing constantly. And then and then I used to post a lot on Facebook as well during that period, from 2017 up to all through, I think, early 2019 or something. So in one random day, I'll write like 10 different things and related on Facebook posts. I had all the time. I had all the, like the energy to channel out. So through that writing, constant writing, is how a friend sent me an inbox message on Facebook and said, "You do write well. You do write. You know, like I like a writer. Yes, himself now." So I said, "You do write well."
You want to give him a shout out?
Oh, of course, I do all the time. Thomas Mlanda, even though he's chosen a different path away from writing now, but I know he is a writer at heart, and we will sure read him a lot, I'm sure. So he messaged me and said, "Do you know about Writers Guild?" And I said, "No, I don't know about Writers Guild. What animal is that?" But it enticed me. I was like, Writers Guild, why does this sound so nice? And then he said, "Oh, it's a group of writers, young writers who come together and they discuss writing. And they usually have meetings at the museum every Friday. I can give you the guy's number, Gabriel, and you can reach out to him or he will reach out to you." I was like, okay, that sounds nice. For some reason, it made me so happy. I remember even it made my evening at that time. And then he gave me Gabriel's number, and immediately Gabriel Dinder, who is also someone who really shaped my writing and influenced and continues to influence me, called me and said, "Oh, Landa shared your number, and you know, I'm the founder of Writers Guild." So he introduced himself, and I was like, "When do you guys meet?" And then he said, "Oh, we meet at the museum." I remember that was the highlight of my week. That Friday when I was going on the 27th of August, I remember it was 2018. I woke up and I was really excited, and I went to the museum, got introduced to Writers Guild. Still, I kind of was growing my writing, but it never went. It never went outside of the writers. I will say the writers forum. It wasn't out in the public. I wasn't published yet, but I was doing a lot of writing. I think back then, even compared to now. I was really writing a lot. And of course grew through the mentorship of Writers Guild, and I first got published in 2020 with the guidance of Gabriel Dinder.
That was Araweelo?
Yes, Araweelo.
That was the first book?
Yes.
Okay, so at what point did you think that, so the first book is a children's book, the second one, the third one. But when you were writing before, were you writing for children?
Never. It never even occurred to me that I will ever sit and write for children.
So what was the trigger that led you to that?
So the trigger, I will say two things triggered me. One was the lack of, I will say, for lack of a better word, write books for my daughter. So I'm a mother, I mean, as you're aware, and I had a daughter who I was trying to introduce to books from a young age, from an early age. At that time, she was around 4. And I remember one evening we went to Textbook Center, and I could not find one single book that I could reach out to and will excite me to want to buy for my daughter. And when I say that, it was totally lacking the northern face that I've always grown up to want to see on books, because remember I said I was that child who loved reading those books and never had those books. And I was like, oh my God, the same narrative 20 years later, and my daughter cannot find a similar book. So it kind of was a challenge to myself. I was like, if no one is ever going to write these books, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to be the one. So my daughter, and not just my daughter also, by that time I had already started the literacy activities I was doing in northern Kenya. And I was...
And what were you calling them? The Northern Voice Trust?
Yes, the Northern Voice Trust. So Northern Voice Trust at that time was already running for like a year.
Could you define it, Kiash?
Yes, sure. So Northern Voice Trust came to me as a book club idea when I first started. And even the story of how I started is a story on itself. Do you want me to go delve into it? So I was on holiday in my mom's house in Mandara with my daughter.
Which year is this?
2017.
So this is before Writers Guild?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is even before you start writing?
Yes, I will say.
Before the personal loss, which led to you writing?
No, it wasn't before the personal loss. It was in the middle of the personal loss.
Okay.
So I was on holiday at my mom's house, and there was a very young girl who used to come to me and watch me read to my daughter. My daughter was months old, but I was still reading to her because I understand the importance of reading. even though I knew for sure she wouldn't understand the language, but I knew it was doing something to her brain development. So I used to read to her. And this young girl used to come and just watch me. And not just watch me, she used to be marveled and in awe, and like, my goodness, I could feel her going along with us, even though she wasn't part of what I was doing. She wasn't my audience, remember? And the first day it happened, she came, I thought, that's it. Like, a young girl, curious, saw it. And
how old?
She was around 5, at the age of 5.
So what was she like really fascinated with?
Just us reading, me reading to my daughter. It was so foreign to her.
In which language?
The book was in English. Yeah. So it's not even the book.
So it was it the book, or how you are reading it, your voice?
I think how I was reading it, and even the entire scene. I am sure that child has never seen a mother read to her child, because I had never seen a mother read to her child as well.
Okay.
So it was the same image replicating itself several years later. And then so what triggered me and what made me, like, want to do something about it is when she kept on coming. The next day she came, even though I wasn't reading to my daughter at that time, but when I saw her coming, it made me reach out for a book. And so it stirred something in me. My holiday ended, I came back to Nairobi, and I kept on thinking about her, and I kept on thinking, how much privilege I had as a person, and how much privilege my daughter had. I was like, I'm able to buy her a book, I'm able to sit with her and read with her, but who is ever going to do for those kids? Who's ever going to, she has parents, but of course they're not, most probably they were not mainstream schooled, so they don't know the importance of reading. They do not have the luxury to buy those books. She's busy selling something at the market, or maybe just keeping her house in order. So I kind of felt like a sense of responsibility bestowed on my shoulders. So I came back to Nairobi and kind of wondered, like, what can I do that's sustainable to ensure that these kids can get a book. So I mainstreamed with Gabriel Dinda, who's was one of my mentors then, and another person whom I don't think I'm ready to mention his name now, but he's also a very influential person and really influenced my growing as a writer and as a creative. And I told them, I shared my story with them, and they really advised me to form an entity, because they were like, it's so easy. So my plan was, I want to work with schools, because of course schools have structure in place. It's so easy for me to be able to reach out to millions of children through schools. So I wanted to get books, take to the schools, work with them. But then they were like, if you do not have an umbrella, nobody recognizes you as an individual, as Sahara. So they encouraged me to form an organization, and that's how I formed the Northern Voice Trust, which is basically a simple idea of creating a community of readers and growing them, and hopefully those seeds that I plant today are all going to grow into branches that write and claim their spaces as they should in the writing world, and publish all our stories to the world.
So now, like in the practical sense, how does that work? You supply books, you read for them?
Yes, we do. So this is what we do, and this is how we work. I get books from donors. Most of the Kenyan publishers actually have reached out to us and donated books to us. A lot of the times, Book Aid International has ever donated books to us. So I collect all of these books. I go to the schools. We have 2 projects. One simple called Project I Read. It's just 1 hour.
Schools in the
northeastern Kenya, yes. So it's called Project I Read. It's simple 1 hour read aloud. Of course, we all know the importance of read aloud. So I go to the school, I introduce the concept, and encourage them to adopt 1 hour out of the whole Monday to Friday timetable. Most of the schools I've worked with, I remember, adopted 1 hour every Friday, that they will sit either under a tree or inside one of the big classrooms. The ages we work with, of course, like I said, we are growing seeds from foundation, 4 years and up to 10 years. So from class nursery, or mostly class 1, up to year 4. Those are the kids we work with. So they sit together and the teacher supervises, then they do read aloud. And then we supply the books, because like we said, there's no, the gap was to fill in, make sure the books reach to them. So I get the books through well wishers and even my own influence now on social media, then take the books to them. And then stay at the school for like 1 week with them, supervise it, see if they have adopted and understood the concept. And then I do depending on how resourceful I am, because I do all of these things from my own pocket, and of course from the help of my close friends that I usually reach out to and inform them whenever I have a visit. So I could do 1 or 2 trips back home to see how, the implementation of the project and do evaluation and follow up. So yes.
So now from these, now you end up now writing books that actually cater to that audience.
Oh yes, absolutely. Okay. So that made me, again, that awakening of the books are still the same. If it's not Snow White, it's some book written by somebody, I will say, like, I don't know, Nekesa. So yes, they are all our stories. Yes, it represents us as Kenya as a whole, but these children will never think or believe they belong to a book. These children will never see themselves on the cover of a book. So I got inspired to do it because I was like, I'm doing it for the child that I was that needed that. And that child now is all these children going to these schools. So I feel like it was a responsibility on my end, and I did it. So when I did the first book, it was so successful that people pressured me to do the second book. Everyone was like, when are you doing a second book? When are you writing? So I wrote out of, I think I will say, that pressure. I never had any plans to do a second or a third. At first it was just do it, satisfy, and then that's it. I have ticked the bucket list that I had at that time. But I did A Boy Named Salah. A Boy Named Salah as well was influenced by a story of a very selfless and dedicated teacher who lost his life in a very unfortunate way. He was killed in a bus going to Mandera by Al-Shabaab. It was in the mainstream news. I don't know whether you may recall or any of our viewers may recall.
Which year was it?
In 2017. They didn't shoot him at sight. He was shot defending another non-Muslim person. So he was negotiating with these terrorists and asking them, why are you killing these people? Like, what is it? Like, so in the midst of that, he was shot in the shoulder, and he stayed at a hospital in Nairobi for, I think, a week before he passed on. He was honored. Of course, by our president then, Uhuru Kenyatta. I remember even the Right Honorable Raila Odinga visited his children and at home. It was a symbol of unity for our country. But I was like, that's it.
What was his name?
Salah.
Salah?
Teacher Salah.
Okay.
So, Teacher Salah, well, there's also a movie about his life that was done, but of course by foreigners. It wasn't done by one of our own, which is, another thing that I find so unfortunate, that we don't honor our heroes, not when they're alive and with us, and even when they die, we still allow their stories to die with them. So I didn't want that kind of scenario to happen. I was like, Salah is one of our own. I mean, of course, he belongs to all of us as Kenyans. I'm not like, saying that he's not Kenyan enough. He is. But I felt like, as a Muslim, as someone who comes from northern Kenya, we needed to have his name immortalized. And of course, again, I felt that sense of responsibility on my shoulders. So I wrote this character, this boy called Salah, in the story, who eventually saves someone's life using a herbal medicine, an art which he learned from his grandfather. These are all our ways of life. And so he ends up, honoring that teacher. And I also did it in the dedication, so his name is never forgotten. Again, another sense of responsibility.
Yeah. So now when you supply or when you take those books to the children in the north and you get to see them read, have you been blessed enough to see their reaction?
Oh yes. Oh yes. A lot of the time. The one instant that stands for me was when I went to Ramo, where that teacher was born. It's a village in Mandera North.
With an R.
Rhau.
Ramo. Okay.
Ramo. Yes. So when I went to Ramo, the MP then bought a number of books, and we did an activity with him where we visited the schools and read to the children, and did motivational talks for them, which was amazing. He's actually the only area MP that I realized was concerned enough about education and books and reading culture in that sense from the whole of northern Kenya. So I applaud him for that. And so when we went, one of the teachers who got into practice when I was born, the year that I was born, is when he became a teacher. And he told me, I've never seen a Somali lady writer. I was the first. And I remember I cried. Not that I planned to cry, but it just emotions engulfed me. I was like, can you imagine what it means? A teacher who is in his 50s, like, saying that to me. Now imagine what it means to the children who are blessed enough to see their own sister, come to them and tell them, I did this, and like the image it creates in their mind and how powerful it was. And so yes, I do realize that the work I do is not little at all. It's so much influence on the brains of those children, and I'm so grateful that I became that vessel to do that for them.
Okay. So then after that, you write the third book. So what was the inspiration for that one?
My own son.
Yes. He has a colorful brain.
He has a colorful brain, yes.
Could you break that down for us? What does it mean to have a colorful brain?
2020 September, I got blessed to have a child, and I, raised like any other normal mother will raise a child. But then somewhere in the midst of our journey, I came to find out that there was something not functioning as it should in his brain, and that was going to affect how he gradually develops, what they call the developmental stages. Like a child they have milestones. By 3 months, they should be doing this. By the 6th month. So my own child wasn't able to even sit by the time he was a year plus. And we went to the doctors, and of course he was diagnosed. And I remember the first day when the doctor told me, your child is not okay, but I cannot tell what's wrong by just looking at him. You're going to have to go do an MRI and several other tests. And that thing vibrated in my mind for a whole month, I will say. Every time I will turn in bed, his words used to vibrate, literally, like I will hear the sound, the echo, the tone with which he said, your child is not okay. It kind of like kept on coming back to my head. So as you will imagine, it affected me. And I was like, I'm going to become a mother with a special child. Like, those are things I think we go through life thinking that certain things are meant for certain people. And that when they come to you, you do not know how to deal with them. You do not know how to face them. So it was kind of that moment for me. I always thought these children belong to someone else. They belong to other people outside there. And no way a child with special, need could belong to me. So it took me a lot of time to accept and to deal with that. It was grief for me. I had to grieve that moment and also journey, because of course it's a journey, the medical, all the going to the hospitals, the medical corridors, in and out, everything. At that time, I didn't know whether I will ever want to write a book, but the experience with which I encountered made me want to write a book. I came to view the society from a different lens. I realized that at that time, it was kind of like as if we only see in two colors to me. It's either black and white, like this thing is black or this thing is white. We did not have a definition for what is in between. We did not know what is in between. And so how do we deal with what we don't know as humans, most of us? We label them and we try not to understand them. It's just, something in between black and white, and then that's it, you move on from it. So I realized that these children come with different color. They're so colorful that we do not know how to relate to them. We do not know how to understand them. So what do? We label them. We say they're this, they're that, all the names. And that's how stigmatization is born, by not understanding. But what I came to realize and what I came to actually appreciate was that it wasn't coming from a point of hatred. All my life I've grown knowing stigma, being stigmatized, it comes from a point of hatred. I realized it's just typical ignorance. These people do not know anything about this. They do not have probably the time or the capacity to internalize and understand it and want to relate with it. So we label things. That's why we think if a child is special needs child, they're practically lazy in thinking, that their brain has a problem. that's why we kind of think that that blanket condemnation of ni kama akililala, something of the sort, while these kids, most of them are brilliant and they have different conditions. So it got to a point where I used to fear to go out with my son, because the first thing people will do is he has a distinctive difference in his eyes. One side of the face is more functional than the other side of the face, so he has one eye smaller that doesn't blink a lot. And I remember, like, every time we step out, everyone is like, oh, what's wrong with the eye? Have you taken him to the hospital? Oh, why is he not doing this? Oh, and it kind of used to bother me. So I think the society's lens wasn't as huge as my daughter. Remember, I have a firstborn child, and then this child comes second, and then I'm always taking my daughter along with the journey. She's aware of what's happening to her brother. We're always visiting the doctors. So she kind of took the place of the society for me. She was full of questions, like always asking me, Mommy, what's wrong with my brother? Is he ever gonna walk? Is he ever gonna play? Why does he just lie down and stare? Why is he not doing this? So in an attempt to answer her that question of what is wrong with my brother, I was trying to tell her, you know what, there's nothing wrong with him, yet he has a condition that you need to understand so that you know how to relate with him. So my daughter took the position of the society, and that's how I wrote the Colourful Brain. That's how the concept of the Colourful Brain came to me, because I thought that these are children who come with so much color, and we need to understand them. We need to get into their world, not the other way around. They do not need to fit into our world. We just need to understand in their world and let them thrive in their own way as they are. We cannot fix them. They're not here to be fixed. They're okay, they're equal, they're full of life as they are, and you meet them where they are.
So advocacy has been like very major when it comes to your works.
Absolutely, yes. And none of it I choose.
You know the way you love like the environment, the trees, the whatever and so forth.
Yes.
Can you expect you're going to do one about Wangari Maathai or something?
I think at some point, yes. At this point, nothing ever, like I can't say I will never do this or I can ever do this, because I realized all of these things I do choose me. And I never wanted to do a Colourful Brain book. Even all the concept to me to understand in how we don't even see color, it chose me, all of them, like kind of, I feel like my whole writing is centered around advocacy. Like it's always something that triggers me and makes me to write, to go out there.
I like something you said there, it chose you. Is that your philosophy of life? Like it's not you want to do something, it's something chooses you. You find your way and you trust it.
I think I will say yes. I feel like life itself happens to us. Like, I mean, who said that I want to be born and came into life? So in the same way that life happens to us and we have to figure it out and, swim through it, every path that chooses me, I accept it and I swim with it to the depths. Of course, it's not as philosophical and as easy as it sounds. But yes, even with all the challenges, I swim through them and I do what it chooses me for.
Where is the current taking you right now?
I'm doing a film. That's where it's taking me.
A film?
Yes.
Have you started or you're thinking about it?
I'm not thinking about it. I've put the writing together. It's just waiting to find somebody to help, a midwife, to bring it out.
You've written a script?
I don't know whether it's a script or what do you... Not the lines.
A treatment.
Not the line. So I don't know what... The lines that every person says. No, not that. But I have the concept note. I have the script in place. And all the characters, everything is written down. But of course I need to work with, I think, somebody to birth the lines. Even though most of the lines also are written, like I have them. But of course it will. Now the midwife, I think in my sense, is the person who's going to help me finish the birthing process and bring it out.
Is it based on one of your books or a new thing?
Not on my books. Not so totally new. Bits, my growing and also my background. Almost all of it is my community story. Yes.
So is it a movie or a documentary?
So it's a. I feel like you're cornering me.
No. We just want to get a glimpse so that whoever is watching, and a producer could be watching.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Think
true.
about that.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So it's the life of 4 different women, different generations, and their lives, their life story is one. So the 4th generation wants to find out how can my story be similar to a 70-year-old woman. What is it that makes this storyline to want to go on? And she wants to now, she travels back into the first generation and tries to find out what it is that followed her from there, and then integrates now the past and the present and the future, and I mean the past and the present, to build her future, to understand her future better. Yes.
So you do write more than other sorts of writings other than children's books?
Yeah, I have a few short stories published. Actually 3, I think. Is 3 enough to be called a few? I don't know. One that I was honored to coexist in a book with you, the Toyin Falola Prize.
Was it called In the Sands of Time?
In the Sands of Time is the headline of the story.
Yes.
The title of the book, I think.
The anthology.
And the anthology, yes. But my story is called Ankasas. And still set in the northern Kenya.
So you've published 3, but you've written more than 3.
Yes.
How many have you written?
About 11. Yes.
How many are you going to? I'm sure you're going to put them somewhere.
Yes. An anthology of short stories. I don't know when it will birth itself again, but yes.
You're working on that?
I'm working on it. Yes. Yes.
What about a novel?
I don't know. I've never tried to write a novel. I don't know. I can't say yet that I can write.
Yvonne Odhiambo,
whom I admire and adore so much.
She always tells us, stop writing short stories.
Yes.
Write novels.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you think you write a novel?
I don't know. I have the patience of, the least patient thing being on earth ever. So I've never really tried or wanted to figure out if I can write a novel. I don't know whether I can sustain a plot that much.
What about this story you talked about for the movie? It sounds like a novel.
Because it's real life story. That's why. I mean, it was so easy for me.
Like,
because
is it real life story?
Yes.
Like those women, you know them?
Yes. It's lived experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they are not going to be acting in it, right?
No.
So that makes it a novel.
Okay.
Novels are also based on real people, right?
Yes.
Because you don't know every extent of their life.
Yes.
You'd be imagining it as you invent it, right?
Yes.
That's how novels are written, I think. Like some novels are based on reality.
Truly, they are.
Autobiographical, fiction or out of fiction.
Yeah.
Some novels are based on fiction, some novels are based on reality, and the invention of the imagination is what makes it a novel, I think. But it's a movie. Yeah.
So the thing I always say, maybe it's a way of me not wanting to get on it and try and experiment it, but I'm always like, I've never figured out, I've never tried.
What if you
Can I ever try it?
What if you write that story as a novel? The one you just told us.
Possible.
Let's
allow time to
to
do its work. Could I? Yes. Will I? Probably yes. Yes.
So where do you get your stories? Other than now, not the children's, because we understand that is the advocacy.
Yes.
But your short stories, where do you get them?
What lived experiences you? Again.
Lived experiences.
Yes, all of it is lived experiences. Like Ankasas, I remember. It's the whole of it was a story in a dream, and when I was writing, I didn't realize it was me, but I realized that was my grandfather coming to me in a dream, because my grandfather died at an age where I was young, and no one ever had told me that he died, and I was close to him. So I kind of felt the loss of it. And for a very long time, it used to bother my brain, kind of thing. And when I wrote that story, I felt like I don't know, I kind of found closure. Yeah. So all of it is, and then another funny thing about my writing that I realized is all of it goes back to the nomadic life. Even though I've never experienced nomadism at first hand, like I think even the first time I touched the teat of a goat to try and milk it with the guidance of my cousin was in 2018.
I like the sound of that, the teat of a goat. Like, it's very poetic, like alliteration.
Was in 2018. So you imagine, as someone who was born in Mandera and grew up in Mandera all that time, you will imagine that I lived full 100% the nomadic life. Unfortunately, I didn't. But I realized my writing, all of it.
Why unfortunately?
Because
You would want to?
I would have maybe wanted to, but I never got the chance. Because we living in town, we go to school, my dad is working, my mom is working.
So you do write about the nomadic life?
Yes, a lot of it. All the influence actually comes from there.
Maybe if you had lived it, you wouldn't write about it.
Probably.
Because you yearn for it, so you leave it in your literature.
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because it all goes back to the boma. I'm always talking about cattle. I'm always talking about the smell of the boma. What is it called? Where the cattle are kept?
The shed.
The shed, yes. Yet I've never lived it. So.
Yeah. I think that's a fitting way to close this. But before we close, you need to tell us the story about your name, Sahara.
Sahara.
Yes. How come you're named after the desert? Did your grandmother or your mother love the Sahara Desert so much?
I absolutely do not think they even had any awareness of the Sahara Desert existing. So I was born. I was the first girl, a first-born child. My mother named me a name that I love dearly and features a lot in my writing, which I'm not going to say it. And my father named me a dear name of his own, which they still call me. When I go back home, none of them calls me Sahara, actually. My mom calls me the name she named me. My father calls me the name he named me. And then I'm told my grandfather came visiting. And so he asked both of them, like, what do they name me? And
how old are you at this point?
Baby, like a few days into my birth. So when he came by, I don't know the exact number of days, but I know it was like in few days time. So he said, he asked for my name, and then both the names they gave him didn't sound any right to him. So he was like, my daughter is going to be called Zahara.
Zahara with a Z.
I think so. It was meant to be a Z. In my understanding, this is how I put it. So I think because there's no Z in the Saharan, in the Somali language, the Somali language is S-A-H-R-A.
Sahara.
Sahara,
not,
exactly.
Not Sahara.
No. So that's the Somali name that my grandfather wanted to give me. But I do think the person at the birth registrar who was registering probably couldn't get the Sahara pronunciation and ended up adding an A in between. So I look like the desert, which I love.
So at home,
so I always call it a beautiful mistake of how the name came to be in place, and I love it.
Serendipity. So at home, do they call you Sahara or Sahara?
Sahara.
They call you Sahara.
Yeah.
So now nobody calls you Sahara. Everybody calls you Sahara now.
You wouldn't tell, honestly, when someone is calling.
What did your grandfather call you?
My grandfather called me Sahara.
Sahara.
That's how you pronounce it in Somali.
Not Sahara.
No.
But everybody else called you Sahara.
So they can't even say Sahara per se, like the way you're definitely saying it. It's Sahara.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. The way I say it. If there's any Somali listening, I'm sure they'll get it. Sahara, like that. Okay. Just simple as that. But then I also have friends who, for some reason, cannot pronounce Sahara, and maybe they choose not to. So they always call me Zahara. I used to kind of take offense. I used to be like, oh, my name is Sahara, get it right. But I think age has caught up with me. Right now, I made peace with everything. I'm like, you want to call me Zahara? Call me Zahara. You want to call me Sahara? That's my name. I love it.
So, thank you. I think that was can put a cap on that. It was a good conversation. I have learned some things and gotten some insights into how you came into this.
I absolutely loved doing this, Eric. Thank you so much. Thank you. Like, a lot of us can take up the space to want to give, to write those books, like those children books. So, but then I didn't know how to exactly say, to fill that void of like we should not have, 20 years from today, we should not have a Kenyan child saying they yearn for a Kenyan story. Like, if you're a Meru, give those people, the representation. If you're this, like, let's have a collection of the core all Kenyan identity, so that 20 years from today, our children do not have to yearn or have to say, I had to write. Like, they do not have to correct the mistake I was correcting.
So that was Sahara Abdi in yet another engaging, entertaining episode of Conversations in Literature. We will be back next week with another guest. I am your host, Eric Rogara, and this was Conversations in Literature, sponsored by Nairobi Academic Press.